Welcome, focused learners, to this explainer. I am so glad you're here today because, well, we are diving into something that is deeply fascinating, highly relevant, and quite frankly, a little bit chilling. Today, we're exploring a profoundly important cautionary tale coming right out of Nigeria. It's a phenomenon that's been dubbed the OLODO Uprising. Now, while this is rooted in a specific place, the warning it carries is totally universal. It's a story about what happens when a society's educational foundation begins to fracture, and not just physically, but culturally. We're going to unpack the data, look at the societal shifts driving this, and explore the absolute vital necessity of safeguarding how we value learning.
Section 1. The Hidden Battle for Minds. Okay, let's dive right into this, because the real threat to a nation isn't always the one making the front page. When we think of national crises, we usually picture these highly visible, heavily publicized struggles, right? Things like economic hardship and physical insecurity. And that makes sense, because people feel those every single day in their wallets and in their physical safety. But the real battle, the one that rarely ever makes the splashy headlines, is the battle for a nation's mind. And a battle for the mind is far more dangerous precisely because it goes completely unnoticed until the damage is already deeply ingrained in the culture.
Section 2. Defining the OLODO Uprising. Let's transition into the specific symptoms and the insidious cultural shifts that have actually sparked this crisis.
The foundation of this crisis is built on some massive systemic failures. First off, schools are severely underfunded. The actual physical spaces meant for learning are deprived of necessary resources, leaving students without even basic tools. Second, there's this heavy reliance on student loans that's increasingly normalized and celebrated, which shifts the burden of access in ways that can fundamentally alter who actually gets to learn. And third, and perhaps most distressingly, students and teachers are increasingly exposed to physical insecurity. When the environment that's meant to be a safe haven for intellectual growth is compromised like that, this physical and financial decay just sets the perfect stage for a much darker cultural shift to take root.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the absolute core of our cautionary tale, the true definition of the OLODO Uprising. We aren't just talking about bad test scores or crumbling buildings here. It is a fundamental cultural shift. It's the emergence of a culture where ignorance is actually applauded. It's an environment where curiosity, the literal engine of human progress, is actively mocked. And it's a system where low-effort thinking is rewarded way over actual rigorous learning. Isolating the concept like this makes it incredibly real and tangible. It's a behavioral shift where just doing the bare minimum is somehow elevated above the pursuit of excellence.
Section 3. A celebration of ignorance. Let's clarify exactly who and what this uprising is targeting so we really understand the true nature of the caution.
It is absolutely crucial to prevent a really common misunderstanding here. The OLODO Uprising is not an attack on people with limited educational opportunities. Let's be clear, this isn't about shaming folks who, through zero fault of their own, lack the chance to attend school or gain formal qualifications. Not at all. Rather, it is a massive warning about a society that deliberately chooses to celebrate ignorance instead of pursuing knowledge. It's a critique of a societal attitude. It's about a deliberate, cultural choice to just stop valuing the pursuit of knowledge altogether.
Section 4. The True Wealth of Nations. Let's shift our focus to the catastrophic long-term stakes involved when a society culturally devalues learning.
So the crucial point is this. No nation becomes prosperous by devaluing education, full stop. There is literally no historical precedent for a country achieving lasting prosperity while simultaneously undermining its educational systems and mocking intellectual effort. Whether that knowledge is gained in a traditional classroom, through hands-on vocational training, or just a personal commitment to lifelong learning, education is the absolute non-negotiable prerequisite for progress.
Let's break down the essential pillars of any functioning, thriving society for a second. Knowledge is the foundation of innovation, right? Creating new solutions to complex problems. It's the foundation of productivity, doing things better and more efficiently. It is the bedrock of good leadership, and ultimately, it is the sole driver of national development. Every single one of these pillars relies entirely on knowledge, and therefore, every single one of these pillars is directly threatened by a cultural shift that promotes low-effort thinking.
And this brilliantly illustrates a major paradigm shift we need to have in how we view wealth. For generations, nations have obsessed over what's beneath the soil, natural resources. The focus is always on what can be extracted from the ground. But the true wealth of the nation is actually found within its people, its human capital. Natural resources eventually run out, markets fluctuate wildly, but human ingenuity, when that's cultivated through education, it is absolutely limitless.
Because human capital is the true wealth, this brings us to a really sobering conclusion. Every attack on education weakens our collective future. When schools suffer from poor funding, that is an attack. When educational environments are made unsafe for students and teachers, that's an attack. And when a culture emerges that ridicules intelligence and applauds ignorance, well, that is a direct fatal attack on the essential human capital that a nation absolutely needs to survive.
Section 5. A warning, not a comedy. Let's slow down for a second to really consider the final, chilling implications of this phenomenon.
The term OLODO might sound colloquial, and sure, the idea of people mocking learning might initially just seem like internet trolling or some passing comedic trend. But make no mistake, the OLODO uprising is not comedy. It is a glaring warning sign. The stakes here are not about social media clout or daily politics. The stakes are a matter of survival for national development and a country's capacity for progress.
Let me read this stark, direct quote from the source material because it serves as the ultimate, dramatic prophecy of our cautionary tale today. The day a nation stops aspiring to knowledge is the day it begins to decline. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens the exact moment that aspiration dies. The second a society collectively decides that learning just isn't worth the effort anymore, the clock starts ticking on its decline.
So I want to leave all of you focused learners with a crucial question to ponder today. We've been looking at Nigeria's battle against ignorance, but these warning signs, they are completely borderless. I want you to look around you. Look at the media you consume. Look at the behaviors that are rewarded in your own communities, and pay attention to the way education is discussed. Is your society aspiring to knowledge, or is it applauding ignorance? It's a vital question to ask ourselves, because as we've learned today, the answer dictates the future. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking the hard questions, and please never stop pursuing knowledge.